She never expected her killer to be so handsome. The last thing many of Ted Bundy's victims saw wasn't a knife, a gun, or a monster. It was a kind smile and a broken arm. Bundy would approach young women near college campuses. He'd wear a fake cast, carry books, and politely ask for help. His charm was disarming. His voice soft. He wasn't just trusted, he was admired. But once they followed him to his car, he volunteered on political campaigns, he studied law. He had a future, or so it seemed. He was raised to believe his mother was his sister and his grandparents were his parents. The confusion about his identity, his origin, his worth, it stayed with him. They vanished forever. All were attractive, slender, long-haired brunettes, each one resembling a ghost from Bundy's past. Ted Bundy looked like everything a predator shouldn't. He was clean-cut, intelligent, confident, born in 1946. Bundy's life began with a lie, but he knew how to hide the chaos inside. Behind closed doors, he was obsessed with control, dominance, and death. But no one suspected the charming law student with the easy smile. A routine traffic stop led to his arrest for kidnapping. In jail, Bundy did what he did best, pretended. The killing began in the early 1970s. Young women started vanishing across Washington and Oregon. Their disappearances sent waves of fear across campuses. People locked their doors. Friends walked in pairs. Not even his girlfriend. Within minutes, he had bludgeoned and strangled 2 young women to death. 2 more barely survived. As the bodies piled up, Bundy moved state to state. Utah, Colorado, Idaho. He stalked his victims with precision, lured them, killed them, hid their remains in forests and mountains, and returned to visit their corpses, sometimes days later. He was more than a killer. His face was now on every news channel. His name whispered with dread across the country. He was a collector of silence. Eventually he was caught, but not for murder. He cross-examined witnesses, argued motions, smirked at cameras. He loved the attention, he charmed guards, studied case files, filed motions, smiled for cameras, and then he escaped. Not once, but twice. Bundy wasn't just fighting for his life, he was putting on a show. The second time, he fled all the way to Florida, where his crimes would reach unimaginable horror. January 15, 1978, in the dead of night, Ted Bundy broke into the Chi Omega sorority house at Florida State University. Then, as if on autopilot, he walked away into the dark. 3 weeks later, he abducted a 12-year-old girl named Kimberly Leach. Her fate was even more gruesome. Bundy was arrested again shortly after, caught driving a stolen car. But what happened next had never been seen before, always holding back. He played games, revealing just enough to stay relevant, to delay the inevitable. For the first time in American history, a murder trial was televised, and Ted Bundy was its star. The courtroom became a stage. Bundy acted as his own attorney. Spectators filled the seats like it was a movie. Reporters flooded the hallways. He received love letters, marriage proposals, fans, and in the middle of his trial, he proposed to a woman in the courtroom. She said yes. He didn't act like one. He smiled. He flirted. He shook hands, but despite the spectacle, the evidence was overwhelming. Bite marks, eyewitnesses, hair samples, blood bodies. Ted Bundy was sentenced to death. And he showed us how deeply dangerous a charming face can be. Over the next 9 years, Bundy confessed, in pieces, one victim here, another there, always vague. But time ran out. On January 24, 1989, Ted Bundy walked to the electric chair. He looked calm, others cheered. A small crowd gathered outside the prison. Some held signs. When the switch was flipped, a chapter in American horror ended. But the questions never did. How many did he really kill? He confessed to 30. Investigators believe it was more, maybe far more. Others, a narcissist. Some simply called him evil. What made him this way? Psychologists found no easy answers. Some called him a psychopath. But the truth is chilling. Ted Bundy didn't look like a killer. He could be standing behind you in line. He taught the world that monsters wear masks. He exposed the power of media in criminal trials. And you'd never know. Bundy's story changed everything. He forced law enforcement to cooperate across states. He was the man next door, the boyfriend you trusted. the classmate you envied, and the killer you never saw coming. Because evil doesn't always snarl, sometimes it smiles.